You know that feeling when you open your inbox and find another Google review from a happy client? Well, we feel the same way when our listeners leave a review on Apple Podcasts for our show.
It's honestly so helpful because reviews give you the words straight from your client's mouth that impacts the way you run your business going forward. And the same is true for us.
Yeah, when we read your reviews, it helps us understand what you love and what you want more of, which makes the show better in return. And really, everyone wins here.
So before you listen to today's episode, could you take 1 minute and leave us a 5-star review and tell us one thing you're loving about the show? We promise we'll be here ready to chat when you're done.
And after leaving that review, make sure you screenshot it and send it to support@modernagentsocialclub.com with your mailing address, because we have a fun little surprise for you as a way to say thank you.
XOXO, the marketing girls. My brain is a type A, but my operating system is a type B.
We want your downloads.
Short and skirt. Shirt and skirts.
What is wrong with us? How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are 2 agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Hey, Kayla.
Good morning, Chelsea. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Agent Marketing Girls podcast. How are you doing?
I am good. We, as always, get chatting, and then I'm like, let's hit record and get this on camera to catch all of you up. We were talking about the show 4 seasons on Netflix, which I just binged in like 2 days. It's 8 episodes and they're 25 minutes each. But then we got into Amy Poehler, Tina Fey. I get them confused. Kayla wants to be one of them. I already forgot which one.
Amy Poehler. First of all, I just think she's like cute and funny, but she has like a cool style. And you and I have talked about this, Chelsea. Like, both of us we like nice things, but we like it to be a little bit fun. We don't like boring clothes or whatever. And so I always feel like her style is really cool. But she and Tina Fey in Baby Mama, that movie changed my life. Have you seen it? Please tell me you've seen it.
No, I have, but I haven't seen it.
But you're
in
not
a really
laughing.
Long time. I don't remember lines or anything.
I could quote you the entire movie. I think it's so hilarious, and they just work really well together. But I was telling you that I listened to Amy Poehler's new podcast yesterday, and I was listening to the episode with her and Tina Fey, and I was like, I hope that people listening to our podcast feel the way that I do when I listen to theirs. Now, of course, we're not celebrities, but like their chatter and their like friendship and stuff comes through. And I'm like, oh, I just hope people feel like this when they listen to ours.
I need to go listen now. There's also a brand new movie. Oh no, this is not brand new. Netflix tricks you because they'll put stuff on there like new on Netflix. And I started watching on the treadmill a movie called Sisters with both of them.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, well, I was so new. Like, I'm so excited. And I to hit play, and then I was like, I'm not really that into it. But I just looked it up. It was 2015, so it is not new.
Oh, well, maybe I watched it and forget it.
So, like, that's why when I started it, I was like, what is this?
That's so funny. No, they're just hilarious. I feel like that's what's so fun with having this show is I feel like when we listen to other podcasts now, instead of just thinking about like their actual content, we're thinking of like the format, what they ask for, how they do things with their community and all of that. And so it gives us lots of ideas.
Yeah, we are and this is a good tip for anyone in marketing and business, but like user behavior focused. So like things that speak to me, the things that stop my scroll, the podcast that I'm instantly hooked on, whether it's a guest or it's a solo episode, what are those patterns? And I look so much into the patterns of what I'm interested in and how can we make that part of our show? Anyways.
Okay, so one thing that I listened to on a podcast recently that you and I talked about is I also love the Lazy Genius podcast. Do you listen to that one?
Not regularly.
Okay. I don't listen to it regularly anymore. I did a lot when I was first learning her stuff, and now I just pick what episodes I like. But I messaged you and said oh my gosh, we need to ask for reviews in this way. Because here's the thing, guys, everyone listening. It is it annoys me so much when I listen to a podcast and they're like, if you like this show, please leave a review because it helps us get in front of more people. And I always think, well, then what's in it for me as the listener? Like, there's not a whole lot of incentive for a listener to leave a review. Now, you and I, we offer a little like surprise gift for whoever does leave a review. We always say screenshot that, email it to support@modernagentsocialclub.com, and we send you a little something from us. But it's hard to convince people to do that because it's kind of a selfish ask, right? It's like we need those reviews to get in front of more people.
But then you can get better guests when you get in front of more people. You can have cooler things and you could maybe do a live show. I mean, like the opportunities are endless.
Right.
As a result of getting more reviews and more listeners and a bigger community, we'll be able to offer more and elevate the experience for listeners. So that's really what's in it for you. But maybe you're like, this is like the best. How could it get any better? Then please write a review. No, but seriously, I know a lot of times when you hear that too, you're driving or taking a shower or cooking and it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that later. But I was listening to, I love the Trip podcast, Life's a Trip, and they asked for a review and I just love them so much. And Mark was actually driving. I was listening or we were both listening, but I'm like, I'm going to do it right this second because I want people to know about this podcast. I do share about this podcast. It is helpful to other people. So I quickly wrote a review and the husband messaged me and said like, hey, would you be interested in helping us with our marketing? And I was like, well, I don't really do that, but you guys, I do love you guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Well, and the other thing that the Lazy Genius talked about too was Kendra was saying, even if you've already left a review or if you don't have time to leave a review right now, can you at least send this episode to a friend? And again, I feel like sometimes when agents discover this kind of marketing, whatever, because it's so different from everything else that's out there, they kind of hold it close to their chest like their best kept secret. They don't want to share it. But I was telling you, like, how cool would it be, though, if every agent listening had another agent, whether it's in their brokerage or in their community, that they did things similarly, even though yes, they live in the same community, but they still have different people. Like their sphere is different. Your wedding guest list is different, right? So like it is different. But if you could have someone else like-minded in your industry where you could say, hey, did you listen to this episode? Like, let's do this weekend and like help each other out. I just think it'd be really cool. So even if you've already left a review, sharing it with a friend, again, I know it helps me and Chelsea, but also it eventually will come around and help you too. So
I think it'd be so cool. And I know some of our members do this, like they'll get together and do like a content planning session. And I think that's so fun. Like I would love to be there, like pop up on Zoom, open your laptop, and I'm going to sit in there. But having someone that you can leverage these strategies with, or go take pictures with, or go do a B-roll day, or like just get excited about it. I was talking to my friend Katie yesterday and she asked like, how's the podcast going? And I said like, it's honestly my favorite part of my week. Like I love it. And that has built so much excitement and momentum. And I think honestly, it's because we're doing it together. I did a podcast by myself for a year. I was not this excited about it because it was hard to do it by yourself. And the conversation just adds a different level and a different energy. And I think the same is true when you think about your marketing. If you have someone to like talk to, like an accountability partner, a success partner, whatever you want to call them, like that just gives you that like other way of thinking about things, or they might bring something to the table for your listing, or, you know, like there's so much opportunity with it. So that's why it could also benefit you to share this with a friend.
Yes. So that's our plug. That's our only ask this whole episode. Now we'll actually get into it.
I have one more thing to say. Yeah. Because like my biggest goal is like, I wanted to impact the industry so that instead of doing things the way that real estate culture tells us to do, we do them the way that modern agent culture tells you to do. And that doesn't necessarily mean modern agent social club. I mean like operating as if you are a modern agent, like in today's world, 2025, not 1992. And I wanted more of the industry to operate that way because it would make everyone's lives better. Everyone, buyers, sellers, other agents, brokers could be better. So here's one more little tip, like send this to your broker, like help them think outside the box, help them grow and, you know, level up their marketing. Or if you are a broker, like talking about this with your agents and maybe you all listen together every Tuesday or something. I mean, like you could do so much with this instead of just letting it be another podcast you hit play on in your car and then forget about till the next Tuesday. Like take that next step with it. Tell your broker, tell a friend.
Yes. Phone a friend.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So today we're going to talk about consistency. Summertime's here, and everyone is busy. Even if you don't have kids home from school, like summer schedules are just crazy. And I feel like because it stays lighter out longer, we feel like we have more time of the day. So then we add more to our plate. And then all of a sudden we're halfway through the summer and we're like, I feel like I could have done more, or I regret not doing these things. And we don't want you to say that. We want you to have a really great summer. Not that you have to be crazy productive and like do all the things. Like, yes, we want you to still relax and have fun and chill out. But there are things that you can be doing all summer long that you'll be really glad that you did come fall.
I actually looked up quotes from one of my favorite books ever, Atomic Habits, because
oh my gosh, I have so many from that book.
When I think of consistency, the first thing I think of is Atomic Habits. So good job, James Clear. You followed the story brand framework. But the one that I really liked, or I like all of them, but one that I wanted to say right now is the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. So when you think about your marketing, the goal is not to post on social media. The goal is to become a marketing girl.
Yeah.
The goal is to become just someone, a modern agent, someone who operates this way. It's not about like, oh, when I get this, and this done, then I'm going to post on social media. Or, summer's really busy. I'll just wait till fall. Like, no, cut that from your brain. You are a marketing girl. You are a modern agent. You're doing it right now. And you're going to find a means to that, which his other quote that I really liked and saved that goes with that is good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. And what I thought of when I read that was people say, oh, it takes so much time to be on social media. I guarantee you 90% of the time you're spending on social media is scrolling and consuming and screenshotting things or saving them or sending them to a friend. It's not doing anything for yourself. So if we can, that's like the bad habit. That's making time your enemy or making it your enemy. If we want to make it our ally, like how can we get better at what we are doing so that we're spending less time and it's way more impactful? And that's really what we're talking about today. And we're going to share, we both have some things to share and ideas for you guys. And of course, this will come with content ideas as always. So
always. Yes. Well, okay. Can I start with what is consistency anyway? Right. So I looked it up, and of course, you always get that little AI overview. But I liked what they said. It said consistency in a person refers to the degree to which their behavior, actions, and beliefs remain relatively stable and unchanging over time. It's about demonstrating dependability, predictability, and staying true to their word and values. So what I love about this definition is it's not saying it's perfection. It's saying it's consistent. It's overall, the overarching theme is you are doing these things in a regular basis, not perfectly, but relatively stable, relatively unchanging, all of those things. So what does that look like for us? I think the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what are we trying to be consistent in? What's our overarching goal?
It's funny because consistency, it's like that buzzword with social media. I just need to get consistent. I really struggle being consistent. But if you ask yourself, what am I even talking about when I say consistent? Consistent with what? Consistent with posting how many times a week? Like, we don't need to post every day. We don't need to do everything. But if consistency for you, I think first and foremost, defining your definition of consistency would be a great starting point. So consistency to me is showing up. I'm going to post 3 days a week and I'm going to be on my stories, pop in my stories every day. Like that's consistency. Then you can take it a step deeper. Okay, what are those 3 posts going to be? And again, the more you can define it or theme it, the more it's going to be easy to then go and do. Like we have our marketing therapy Thursday on our stories. It's the easiest story day. Well, part of it's the most work because we're giving advice and feedback and on camera and whatever, but it's easy because we're not having to think about what we're going to put on our stories. It's a defined day. So again, defining what consistency is for you. On Tuesdays, I share something local. On Wednesdays, I share a face-to-cam reel from Modern Agent Social Club and use one of the scripts. Like, what is your definition? And then you basically make it a framework that you can plug and play into, and everyone's is going to look different, which I think is like the best news ever. There is no one perfect route to how we use social media, and that should be freeing, but it's also probably a little overwhelming because there could be so many options, right? And then we're like, well, what do I do? Which way do I go? So my favorite thing with summer or any season And Kayla, you just told me, you're like, the June content felt so easy to create. And I was like, it's because we're finally out of the boring month. We're finally getting into like summer through the new year is great. And then it's like what's a good word for like January to April? Like the dull,
Right. It's
dreary.
dull. There's nothing fun going on outside. It's not pretty. Well, for most of the country, I suppose we have some agents listening in prettier parts of the country. But yeah, and you know what? Like, that's the thing. And I'll add this to it. This was one of my first thing is like, you have to honor your season and like be realistic with your goals. And I was thinking about that the other day. My kids and I have a state park that we go to once in a while. It's like 15 minutes from our house, and like they have walking trails that are just beautiful. And as we were walking around, I was thinking to myself, why don't we do this more often? But then I looked at my watch, my phone, and it was like 5:30, and I was like, oh yeah, because 3 months ago it was pitch black right now at this time. Like, and during those seasons, like, you do stay in, you get cozy, you make soup, all of those things. But like in spring and summer, it's like, no, get outside, get active, be doing all the things. And so even with summer, like, I'm thinking of myself, like, now all of a sudden I'm gone from having 7 hours a day where my kids are all in school to having all 4 of them home all summer long, and my husband because he's a teacher. So I have to like honor that season. So I know like my working hours are going to have to look different. I'm going to have a lot more interruptions, and all of those things. And so you have to be realistic with where you're at and set realistic goals and like almost set small daily actions you can do to help you be consistent instead of like, I'm going to email my list twice a week. That's not really like a thing. But like, if you can say like, okay, I'm gonna use, the content that I have, or I'm gonna stick with these themes, and then I'm gonna email them from, this piece of content, whatever. I feel like it's a little bit more doable and like realistic.
I will say with the season too, lean into it as far as making your content seasonal, and not overly seasonal, but you might shift a little bit of like, for example, maybe you do a series, and here's where you get into like your themes that you can repeat, like scenes from my summer showings. And that's like, whenever you have a showing, try to take a clip or two, and maybe not every showing, but try to do it once a week, and you put it in your stories, and it's just this repeatable thing, scenes from my summer showings. Yeah. And maybe it's like very summery themed things. Like it could be a feature in the home that screams summer. It could be like, oh my gosh, this front porch is perfect for summer. Maybe you live in somewhere like Louisiana and it's 130 degrees right now, and you're like, okay, here is this wonderfully air conditioned room. Like, yes, you can spin it to make sense for where you live. But the point is like, lean into the season. When how like when you're watching a show, this is like the example I always love to share, is like they'll have a Christmas episode, and if they don't, I'm like, where's the Thanksgiving episode? And you're looking for that like time of year that it makes the time of year a little bit more special or a little bit more fun because it feels relevant. It's the whole topic of being relevant. We're not going to, like, instead of just saying like, 5 local restaurants to try. No, 5 of my must go to local restaurants that I get my clients closing gifts for, blah blah blah. I don't know, like that, like lean into it, like that are to die for views in the summer. Like lean into the season. Yeah, and it honestly, it makes the content more fun because it makes it less. You overthink it less. You're like, okay, well, if I'm going to stick with summer, what branches off from that in our area? What branches off from that with real estate?
Yeah, I'm thinking like 5 patio drinks I wait all year to order, or like something like that. Like there's things that are like, it opens that story gap. Like, oh, I have to know now what that thing is, even if you're not from the area, even if you're not a follower of your content, you're going to want to stick around and find out what that is.
I feel like this is such a fun game. Like we could go through our 10 pieces of content and be like, here's how to summer by this content.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if it's a real estate post, like 5 things my buyers look for in the summer. I don't know. I don't like that one. 5 things my buyers look for in the summer. 5 summer features every homeowner wants to have. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like for a reel, you could be like summer soundtrack, and it could just be like, if you did summer soundtrack of like city name, and then you could basically have, it's like that life with no audio type of reel. But instead of saying life with no audio, you could just say my summer soundtrack. And it could be a mix of your real estate showings and your ordering coffees, but then also like the parade that you went to, the farmer's market, all of those things. Like content like that is so bingeable. Like people can't get enough because it's so comforting. Like it's like that whole comfort creator vibe. And I think agents hear ideas like that, or they even see content like that, And they think, but what does that have to do with real estate? But like the truth is, like, it has everything to do with real estate if you're talking about your local community, because you're drawing in local followers, which, by the way, can we like give our people a little bit of a sneak peek about what's happening in the membership this summer? Like, I feel like we talked about like, okay, you have to be consistent. You have to know what your goals are. So we kind of created a goal for our members. Do you want to go into it or do you want me to?
Yeah, this is our commercial break.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yes. So so we came up with a theme for our summer for Modern Agents, and it's called The Summer I Turned Local. So our goal for our summer content, which we're actually going to do a whole episode on this later, so I'm not going to go into all the whole thing, but like we're creating all of the content with the goal to grow your local following and to like make more connections with people in your community. So we're doing a lot of reels like that. We're doing a lot of content like that, which again aren't necessarily all like, oh, this is how you buy a house, or this is the best way to list your house, whatever. But you're dripping in that real estate among with it. Content like that is so shareable, so bingeable. People get obsessed with that. And like your local community, AKA your future clients, are going to want to follow you and follow along.
And the reason we pick this as a theme for our members, and obviously they could kind of tweak it to fit their bigger overarching goal. Like maybe they want to grow their email list. Well, that's a great one to pair it with. Maybe they want to create a freebie, whatever. Then that's a great thing to promote along with your local stuff. But the point is, getting in front of more people in the summer is one of the best things you could do to set yourself up for the fall. Because then you're not getting into fall and you're like, okay, kids are finally back at school. All my summer activities and vacations are over. And now what? Now I have nothing in front of me. I have no business. Like, it's funny because people truly do check out in the summer. Like podcast downloads go down in the summer, everything. But like for a modern agent, you're not going to make that happen. Like you are going to remain like true to your modern agent standards. You're going to still show up on social media. You're not going to wait till fall to start posting. You're not going to wait till fall to get consistent. Like it doesn't take that much to get consistent. So our goal is like, let's keep you in front of people because it's also going to be done in a way that feels very connection driven. And everyone else is just as busy as you are in the summer. So like they probably, smack dab in the middle of July, probably don't want to read 100 things to do if they want to sell their home. They want to just enjoy their summer and doom scroll Instagram before bed. So how can we be that account that they're like, I can't wait to open their stories today. I can't wait to watch their next reel because it's relevant to them. It's summer, it's local. And if you like the show, The Summer I Turned Pretty, that's clearly where we got the name from. So
yes.
What can you do? And I feel like this brings me to kind of a core concept we talk about all the time, but document more than you create.
Mm-hmm.
So get out of Canva and open your camera app. I was going to say camera roll or your camera roll.
That's such a good quote.
Your camera app.
So good. Say it again.
Look for it on the Modern Agent Instagram.
I love it. Oh, I totally agree. Like, that's the easiest way, I think, to be consistent is you're like lowering the bar, right? Like you're going for like the easiest or the lowest hanging fruit. And I think that's why people struggle with consistency is because we set lofty goals thinking like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this summer. I'm going to start eating all healthy food, or I'm going to, have no screen time for my kids all summer. And then you're like day 3 and you're like, just take the iPad. Like, I can't take it anymore.
The ice cream.
Right.
Take the iPad.
It's almost like, we talk about creating like bite-sized content for our followers. What if we just made bite-sized goals? And so, this whole like document over create idea, like what if instead of being like, well, I need to like map out all of my content for the whole month, why don't you just start documenting or look back through last summer's photos? You probably have a lot of content on your phone already that you can like upload into Canva and add a few like lines onto as far as like telling a story or repurposing a piece of content that you've done before that has done well. Like we don't need to overthink this, but I agree. I think documenting, and as you document, we've said this before, but like if you're going to a coffee house or if you're going to the park with your kids or whatever, take a photo, but then also take a 10-second video clip and like hold on to it because you're going to be able to use that clip over and over and over again, especially throughout the summer.
And if you're someone who says like, how do I remember to get all this content when I'm out and about. It truly is a practice. There's no magic secret pill or like program or anything that's going to be like, now your brain is officially switched on into content creator mode. You have to get in the practice of it. So maybe to just get going, like set an alarm on your phone once a day for 1 p.m. or whatever. Pick a time that you might be maybe. It doesn't matter what time. Forget that. Doesn't matter what time. Set your timer. And when that timer goes off, just take a picture and a video clip of whatever you're doing. Or if you have look at your calendar for the week. Maybe you're going to a local park on Thursday. You're going to get ice cream on Friday. You're going to a concert on Saturday. Put in your calendar little alarms that say like document and just take a quick video clip and a quick photo. That's how you start bringing that life into your content that is completely uncopyable. This is why it doesn't matter if you have 10 agents that live in your same neighborhood and you're all creating content together. You have different lives. You have different people you're going to attract through that if you're showing up in this way. And it's so much more powerful. It really is attraction-based marketing.
Right.
You're putting out the content that's going to attract the people that would be a great fit to work with you anyways. And by sharing the things you love and the places you like to go to, I mean, one of the biggest things that I feel like I see people ask about local content, and I'm kind of veering off now, but is I don't know what local spot to talk about. Like which city? Like, oh, well, I sell in these 5 cities and I sell over here and la la la. Like if you're creating local content, you don't need to tell everyone a list of cities you sell real estate in. You just share your favorite things that you personally like to do. That's what you're doing. You're not trying to be the Chamber of Commerce guidebook. You're trying to be the local realtor who has 3 kids and who loves summer and loves where they live and is going to share the favorite things they like to do. That's what you're trying to do. You're not trying to be ChatGPT version of your city, telling everyone what they can do. And sometimes when we create content, it feels like, oh, we need to tell everything. We need to tell every aspect of buying a house, every aspect of where we live, just share your take, share your point of view. And it makes it so much easier. It like eliminates focusing on cities. It eliminates trying to share every single event that's happening or lists of parades. Like that's overwhelming.
Right.
Just be like, hey, here's the number one thing we love to do on Memorial Day weekend. We go to we're probably past that right now. We go to this parade or Father's Day, like here's what my family does on Father's Day. And I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. Like, yeah, we need to not overthink it. But also, I wrote down this quote again from James Clear because I was listening to him too. But he says, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So I think in talking about all of this, like, okay, capture content, document all of that, there does need to be a system. And I agree that like putting a reminder in your phone is a great system to start with, right? And you already touched on theming your days. That's so easy. And we feel like it's limiting. Like, oh no, but then I can't do these things. But like, it makes it a no-brainer to show up because you already know what you're going to say. You already know what you're going to do. One way to do this is like, pick your signature series. Like some of the content ideas we've already shared in this episode, you could just repeat every week and there's your content. And you want to talk about like documenting or creating content. What if you're just like, I'm just straight up not a documenter? What I would do if I were you is I would say this one day, I am taking off the whole day. I'm taking no appointments. I'm doing nothing else. Like I have a babysitter for the kids and I'm going to get so much footage doing all of the things and like have a friend come with you. You can, or pay your oldest kid or whatever and like have them record you going into all the local places, putting signs in your car, picking up coffees, going to the farmer's market. Have them just document all the things. And then by the end of the day, you're exhausted, but you have an entire bank of content that you can use all summer long. What if it was that simple and you didn't even have to think about documenting the rest of the summer? Like so easy. So come up with some kind of system that works for you and like rely on that. Go back to it over and over and over again, because like James Clear said, you're going to be only as good as your system.
Do you ever get to the end of a podcast episode and feel like, ugh, now I have to wait until next Tuesday for more?
Are you asking me or our listeners?
I mean, I was asking our listeners, but now I'm curious. Do you feel that way too?
Honestly, I might. I mean, if it weren't for Modern Agent Social Club, because members get to be in the middle of marketing conversations like this every single day.
That's true. For our members, it's basically Marketing Girl Summer.
Exactly. Like, sun's out, strategy's out.
So if you love the podcast, maybe you've already started trying a few things and you're seeing results, but just imagine how much more momentum you could build inside the club.
Because the podcast is where we talk strategy, but inside Modern Agent Social Club, like, of course, you're going to get great content as I do say so myself. But more than that, you're going to get a results-driven marketing plan.
Carousels and reel prompts and emails, it's all great, but how do they all work together to make you the real estate go-to girl? That's why we provide you with an entire marketing system so you don't have to figure out how all these pieces connect.
So if you're tired of waiting a whole week between episodes and you're tired of DIYing your real estate marketing, make this your most fun and productive summer yet.
And join us today at modernagentsocialclub.com for your first official Marketing Girl Summer. Now back to the show. Do you know what I feel like I struggle with? And I'm sure this is many people. So like, there's like the type A moms and then the type B moms, or insert mom with real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, I'm like the type AB mom or whatever. Like my brain is a type A, but my operating system is a type B. So I'm in a constant battle with myself of like, I need to do all these things perfect and in this order. And I have never ending things to do and organize and systematize. But then I operate like a type B. And it's a struggle because I'm like battling my brain constantly because I'm like, I don't need to do that yet. Like it's like I tried to be laid back, but I'm not laid back.
Yeah.
And I think we're all so different. So like many of you listening, you are type A. You need to plan your whole content for the whole summer. But like, what if you just like try to be type B for a little bit? And what if you type B people try to be a little more type A for a little bit? Like we need to kind of have some balance with it because when we try to over plan, it's like almost when you over plan, it just isn't as good. Like when you spend like so much time on a meal and then you sit down to eat it, you're like, it was okay. Like, like why did I just spend 2 hours cooking and making homemade tomato sauce when I could have just bought that jar of carbone or whatever?
Right.
Like, it's sometimes not worth it, right? Like maybe when you have like the impromptu party with your friends and you just order pizza, it's like the best night ever because you took away all the stress of the planning and the like over preparing and the, I need to clean the house and I need to have this pretty display of food and I need to set the table. Like it removes all that. So some of you type A people need to be more type B when it comes to content because your content will just loosen up.
Right.
Have you ever read The Grumpy Monkey?
No.
Okay, well, it's so funny. Henry loves this book, and this monkey is grumpy, and he doesn't know why. And his friend he's Jim. His friend Norman says, maybe you need to loosen up. So, like, when Henry's kind of grumpy, I'm like, do you need to loosen up? So, like, maybe you need to loosen up this summer, and you need to just learn to not overly plan. And your content might be a lot better. Like, it might come more naturally. You might get some like moments that you normally wouldn't get. And maybe if you're like a total type B, maybe you need to have a little bit of a structure to this summer so that you do make sure that you're still showing up. And another thing I will say about all of that is like have a point to what you're doing. Don't just like chase every trend that you see or try to, I was listening to a podcast that Donald Miller just did about, it's a really good episode. I'll link it in the show notes. It's about how Southwest took away their free bag thing and what you would do as a company to handle like the disappointing news. And really, really good for anyone to listen to. But what it made me think of is he talked a lot about, they kind of started out as a discount airline. But then like Frontier came in and Spirit, and like Spirit charges you for they charge you to sit in the seat, they charge you to put your arm on the armrest, they charge you to take a sip of water. You know what I mean? And so he was like, so then Southwest wasn't really the discount airline anymore because these other like major discount airlines came into the scene and they weren't willing to charge people for a sip of water. So he was like, they had to change something. And he talked about like what a luxury brand does versus a discount brand and all these things. And it made me feel so like relaxed because I was like, this takes away, honestly, every time I listen to him, it takes away the constant squirrel syndrome of social media where like, oh, I should do that. Oh, I should do this. I should do that. I should do this.
Right.
Like one of his things was like, if you're not a discount brand, don't use humor in your brand. I'm like, okay, like I want to be Chanel. Goodbye, humor, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like it makes what you're doing so clear and it gives you that permission slip to stop chasing all the trends and trying to replicate every idea you see and following someone that you like their content that might not be a good fit for you. So ultimately, when you have this structure or you have the theme to your day or you have the, you're sharing from your point of view, it takes away all that noise. And all that noise doesn't really move the needle for you or it doesn't do anything for your bottom line. It kind of is just like another thing to do on your to-do list. And like the last thing we want to be doing is just checking a box and then ending summer with no results.
Yeah.
So how do we take everything I just said and give you a way to summarize that? Caitlin, that's
I'm up. No, I was laughing at when you were saying loosen up because no one that wasn't watching the YouTube channel realized that you were doing this shimmy as you were doing that.
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, woo. No, okay. As you're saying this, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what James Clear said. Because another quote I wrote down was, we have to reduce the friction, make things as easy as possible, reduce the scope, and stick to the schedule. So he was comparing that to like, if you've always done a 45-minute workout and all of a sudden you're on vacation with your family and you don't have time for that, just do 15. Like, that's still putting in the practice. That's still putting in the habit and like making it a consistent part of your schedule and a consistent part. And it's going to still get you closer to your results than doing nothing. And so like thinking about what this would look like, maybe you're a person who during the school year when your kids are all busy or you've got babysitters or whatever, maybe that looks like for you, like I show up every single day. I have 5 pieces of content. I send out a weekly email. I do all of these things. Well, now in the summer, not only is your schedule crazier, but also you've got, more listings and more buyers and all of that. Like you're so busy. So what if instead of just throwing in the hat and being like, I can't do any of this, what if you just reduce it to, I'm going to show up twice a week and I'm going to send an email every other week? Like your email subscribers are not going to be like, where have you been? I have not seen you in my, like, no one's tracking you as closely as what you're tracking you. So I just love the idea, reduce the scope, stick to the schedule. So again, ask ourselves, what are we trying to be consistent in? And only you can answer that. It's like, are you trying to be consistent in just staying in front of your people? Are you trying to be consistent in growing your email list? Are you trying to be consistent in just getting in the habit of showing up and like defining your personal brand? Like, what is it that you're trying to be consistent in? And then like create a schedule that is a reduced scope of what you could do on a day that is like totally ideal, right? I think doing those things will help you reach those goals.
That is my new favorite quote. I'm gonna put it on my wall right here. I need to take down, don't be a lady, be a legend. I don't even like that quote anyways. But okay, so here's what it might look like in practice. If you can't post 5 days per week, because we give ourselves these like artificial must do's. And it's like, where is this coming from? If you can't post 5 days per week, post one. If you can't show up on your stories for, I don't know, I think you should show up on your stories every day. If you can't get your face on camera every day, at least do it once a week.
Yeah.
If you can't send 4 emails a month, try to send one. Here's another one. If you can't send an email with all the pretty graphics and templates, just send one that is text and put a picture of you doing something local, like as a little splash of personal. Like we don't need to do everything to this, again, artificial level of, I don't know who made this rule up, right? Like you're making it up. I'm making it up. I'm making up that everything has to be this way. You're making it up. But like, you're going to be so much better off at the end of the summer, at the end of a quarter. Treat this like a 12-week year. I mean, you're going to be so much better off after these 12 weeks of summer if you posted once a week instead of 0.
Yeah.
You might even be better off than when you were posting 5, because maybe now your one post feels a little more intentional, or it feels like a little more connection driven. Even doing like little things, like I've been doing this a lot in our weekly marketing plans for members, is an impromptu post. And what my goal is with giving them this prompt is to try to force them to just post, just get something done. And I'll even say like, this is great for your Facebook page, your personal Facebook page, but it also works on Instagram. Like you can post a picture and a caption on Instagram. You don't have to have a carousel that you spent an hour on Canva creating or customizing. Like just post a picture. Like the one I just did this week, it was from the monthly menu, but it was like, here's my, go-to outfit of the day as a city name realtor. And I said, just post a picture of you in the mirror selfie. Maybe you're holding an on-brand beverage, and that's it. And put that as your caption. But then here's where the needle moving part of that post came in. The caption then said, and here's what's on my agenda this week. And it included a mix of real estate and personal. So it was like, attend an inspection here, show houses in this neighborhood, celebrate my buyers on closing day, and go to book club.
Yeah.
So the caption was the magic. But then because that post was so simple and in the moment, like honestly, it could encourage you to get dressed for the day. Even if you're not like dressed up, but like you have an outfit you feel good in, or you feel comfortable, or like you love your new shirt and skirt set.
What is wrong with us?
You take a picture and maybe you even add like, as you're on your to-do list, order more short and shirt sets from Beach Riot. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's
Again,
so
that
funny.
post alone is so much better, in my opinion, than trying to post 5 days a week about how to buy a house. Like, that post, someone might be like, "Where's your shirt from?" Or,
Right.
"Oh, I wonder where that neighborhood is she's talking about." Or like, "Oh, what book did you read for book club?" It creates all of these curiosity gaps, or what are they called? Story gaps, that
Mhm.
make you want to then like, "I wanna know more about this person." Or like, every time someone in a story or a reel is like watching a show, and they don't tell me what the show is, I'm like, "What are you watching? I need to know what that is." Like, such little simple things, and that's kind of what that type of a post does. It subliminally opens all
Right.
the curiosity hooks that someone could wanna know more, or like, "What's your next piece of content gonna be?"
Exactly.
So how can you make your plan for summer if you want some kind of a structure, some kind of a checklist, if you will? And what I would do is I would write down, get a piece of paper out or your notes app and write, what is my bare minimum checklist?
Yeah.
And be real with yourself. And maybe like, I don't know if anyone else is like this, but if I have to leave for the airport at 9, then I tell myself I have to leave at 8:30. So maybe for you, you go a little heavier on the bare minimum checklist. And then, like, because in the 12-week year, we learned you really need to achieve 85% of your goal list, your tasks, to get results. You don't need to do 100%. And that is really tough for the people with the all or nothing mentality, which, hello, it's me. And it's like, "Oh, if I didn't eat vegetables with my breakfast, I might as well have McDonald's for dinner," like that. Like, we don't
Yeah.
need that level of extremeness, but instead, what is our bare minimum? So for me, like, maybe it would be I'm gonna post 3 times a week. And if I only post once, I'm still getting harder, I'm still achieving something, but I'll strive for 3. Or I'm gonna do 1 story a week that is like a connection point where it's like that repeatable story. So like, it could be an ask me anything. Like, that's such a good one. And ask me anything. And we've talked before about different things you can name it, different ideas for that. I actually think I have a reel on it. So I'll link it in the show notes if you want to see that list of other
Yeah.
things to call your ask me anything. But yeah, just pick your bare minimum checklist. 1 email a month,
Mhm.
or do 2 emails a month. Maybe you only do 1, but at least you got something done. But like, the worst thing we can do is just avoid it altogether. And it's
Right.
so easy because you'll get into this place where you're like, "Oh my gosh, it's been a week. Oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks. Oh, like, oh, forget it. Like, I'll just come back to this." Or, maybe you cancel your membership to Modern Agent because you're like, I don't have time right now. I'll do it in September. But like, think of everything you're missing
Mhm.
out on in that window of time, because like, 90 days of content, and not that you're posting 90 times, but 90 days of
Right.
opportunity to connect, to have conversations, to get in front of someone, even to go comment on local businesses' posts.
Mhm.
Like, if you just avoid that for 90 days, then your next 90 days aren't going to look that great.
Right. As you're saying all of this, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm picturing, do they call it a Venn diagram? Is that when you have like 2 circles that like overlap? So I'm thinking, like, my first question would be, how do I want my summer to feel? Right. And so I know for like myself, I want to feel rested, but I want to feel like I've had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs with my kids. I want to feel like I'm not behind, all of those things. But then I also think about, well, then what do I want my fall to feel like? And like, as an agent, I'm thinking, well, I would want to know that I've still got people in the pipeline coming through, that I'm going to have more buyers and sellers coming up, that I don't want to look back and feel like I've wasted it, but I also don't want to look back with regret and think I worked all summer and that I didn't have any fun. And so I'd almost like have those 2 circles and then have them overlap and then ask yourself, like, where do they meet? Like, what are the things that they like? Where's the overlap? Is feeling like I had a really great summer and I had created a lot of memories with my kids. Where are those things on this side of the Venn diagram that need to be in the middle? But then also, if I really want to feel like I've got a full pipeline and I've got activity going on and I'm maybe making money in the fall, what are the activities in the summer that are going to get me there? And like, make that middle part like your bread and butter all summer long and just forget the rest. It's always about, it kind of goes back to like that, 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. And so like, just focus on the 20% this summer. So in that case, it's like doing the bare minimum, but also only doing the things that matter, the things that are actually going to like move the needle in your business and in your personal life and in your family, the things that are going to really fill your cup. Only do those things. And then like, you're going to step into fall feeling exactly how you want to feel, like exactly what your goal was to begin with.
I love the Venn diagram idea. It just really simplifies it and keeps your like personal goals in mind at the same time. But even thinking of, with what's going to move the needle, it can also be this time to kind of reset and help you decide like what should get cut right now. Like what should get cut from my marketing activities, from things I do in my business, or like what could get buttoned up? Like what am I spending way too much time on that's not really necessary?
Mhm.
Like maybe you are posting 5 days a week right now and you go through summer and you have like almost better results. And you're like, okay, maybe I didn't need to be doing that much.
Right.
Like maybe focusing on less but better is less but better is a great strategy for social media in general. I think there's like a time and a place when you are in a season of growth or of experimentation, or you want to try something new and you maybe pump out the content, but like
Mhm.
maybe for you that's not summer, and maybe it is, and that's okay too. But if you're just trying to like just get by, just stay up to date, stay consistent with things, like this is a great strategy to keep in mind or to follow, is just like what is going to still get me keep the needle moving. And it
Right.
really does come down to very few things. Like, and I know Kayla, like me and you have ideas all the time of things to do. And then it's like, no, just like what is in front of us right now? Like this
Mhm.
is what's moving the needle right now. Like ignore the rest of, and not that you can ever bring it in, but maybe you put that on like, I love the idea of having like a brain dump list of like, I'm going to come back to this in the end of August, or I'm going to come back to this in September. And for now, you just let it go. You leave it out of your brain. Should we also, before we go, give a few content ideas?
We can. I didn't prepare any, but I can
Oh,
I can look some
I have
up.
a few.
Okay, you go
And
ahead.
you'll probably spin off of them.
Okay.
But just like a simple, so kind of thinking series vibes, like this is your sign to move to city name this summer. Like you could share your local content perspective, still make it real estate, and just do like little glimpses of like why someone might want to move to city name this summer or your city this summer. It could
Mhm.
be, I mean, you going to get ice cream could just be one of those. And you could call it like day one, day two, or part one, part two. And you just like, as you go through your summer and you're documenting over creating, you share those little teeny clips, or like think about like what's a cool staycation thing to do here, or what's a cool dinner place with a good view, what's a cool like, but again, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Maybe you're like all kid activities, you're hiking in the state park every morning, like, but you almost have like a rhythm. Like we all have our own rhythms, our own routines, and how can you pull from that and make that a series? So like another one is like my patio turned office. And that's like
Yes.
a daily, not a day, well, it could be a daily story, but then maybe like once a week, you kind of just share a roundup of like things that happen in real estate that week, and you do a carousel post, but it's all stemming from like your patio office. Like,
I love that.
something summary, something fun, something repeatable. And when you do that, then it starts to just like stick in people's mind, and they're like looking for that. They're looking for
Mhm.
that. I want to see her at her patio again today, or like, what's she drinking today, or what's her
Right.
snack? What's she listening to? Like with those little teeny pieces that make it a little bit more fun and personality infused.
I love that. Those are so good. And again, those are like so repeatable. So like you can do both of them, but then just do them over and over and over again. You're not going to bore your audience with that. You're going to actually like draw them in, entice them, make them want to stick around for more. I think that's so good. I think the last thing that I would add to all of this is to give yourself grace through this whole thing, right? Because summer, there's something about summer. It's kind of like the holidays, but like there's so much going on. There's pressure to make things like perfect or super nostalgic or super wonderful, or to do all the things like get far ahead, but then also make sure you relax. I mean, there's so many messages out there, and I think you just have to decide for yourself. And it might be different for you every summer, but like what matters to you, and then like turn off the noise everywhere else. You know what I mean? I think a really healthy summer for any agent would be less doom scrolling, more getting involved in their community, talking with people, creating content that's simply documenting. Or, obviously, like we're always going to say, lean on something like a membership, like, if whether you're in our membership or not, but like use the tools that you already have in front of you. Like, don't feel like you need to go out and get more, or like get shiny object syndrome and feel like, well, I just need to get this microphone or this tripod or whatever. Like, you have everything that you need. Just use what you have and like get going on it. And then I would just ask yourself over and over again, like, if this were easy, what would it look like? And like go for that low hanging fruit. Give yourself grace, but still like rest at night knowing that you did that one little percent of whatever you needed to do to get yourself closer to your goal. And by the end of the summer, I think you're going to look back and think that you have no regrets. What does that tattoo say when he's like, no regrets, whatever.
No regrets.
Have you seen
regrets.
And whatever the meme is. But yeah, but like, we don't want you to have regrets at the end of the summer. We want you to feel really good about your life and your business and the choices that you made and really excited about the fall.
Something else, like just to kind of end with, is do something that's going to keep your mind going. So one thing could be listening to our podcast on Tuesday. One thing could be just reading, like a book that I just pulled for myself to read is Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And I think, just doing something that's keeping your brain kind of in that business realm, even if you're not, starting a whole marketing campaign and doing all this stuff, like you're just keeping it simple this summer, but it kind of keeps you feeling very motivated to be reading Atomic Habits. I mean, who can't get motivated after that book?
Right.
Like you're just naturally then going to probably do more, but it won't feel like it because it gets you excited. Or like I like to pull out like Purple Cow by Seth Godin and like open a page because it's such like bingeable reading. And like, just like even like a page a day, like, and the whole thing is like, oh, read for 10 minutes a day. Maybe it's a page a day. And I guarantee you'll find a line to highlight or like something you could share in a story. You could even turn that into like a story series where it's like, here, my daily takeaway. And you share a quote from a book. Like how easy, how fun, or like the podcast you listen to, just something really simple. I love sharing the podcast I'm listening to, and people always will respond or be like, I need to listen to this. Like whether it's about business or it's about health or it's about parenting, like it doesn't really matter. It's just sharing. People love recommendations. So, share what you're doing and people will engage with you as a result.
Yeah. I think that's so good. I'm excited for this summer. I think it's going to be so awesome. We've got a lot of really great episodes coming up for you, but they're all going to be like super easy to listen to. And they're going to, again, hopefully feel like something that you want to listen to as you're driving to showings with the windows down and all of those things. So I'm excited to spend the summer.
One other thing I want to mention is if you ever want, like, you're like, okay, there's so much information here. If you go to our show notes, so like in the podcast that you're listening to, scroll down and click the link over to our website. There's a blog post that summarizes today's show. And you'll get, like, if we talk about content ideas, those are there. There's links to things we mentioned there. So that's another good, like, I didn't take my own notes, but I want to use yours. We have them for you.
Yes, that's so true. People forget about that, but it's so powerful. And it's kind of like the Cliff Notes. If you don't have a whole hour to listen to the episode, you can at least read the notes. So
yes, but still hit play.
Yeah. We want your downloads. That's so funny. Guys, this was so fun. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, listeners. I hope you guys all have a super great summer.
I hope that you all make this the summer you turn local.
Yes. So yeah, I'm excited to get into that one.
Yeah.
A couple weeks, folks. We'll release that one.
All right. Have a good week. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.